the urgency of improving the capability of Somalia's security forces. Better cooperation and improved practices are essential to realize our common goal of a more capable SNA forces. We welcome the discussion about the AUSSOM concept of operations and future planning. It is vital that we take advantage of this transition year of 2025 to ensure the force is best postured and sufficiently resourced to meet its goals of protecting vital strategic locations and critical infrastructure. We recognize that important progress has been made, but also that key operational strategic issues are still under review. Securing adequate and predictable funding for AUSSOM is also critical, and we support efforts to ensure that the troops on the ground are taken care of and can do essential work necessary to ensure the safety and security in Somalia. However, it is important here to note that the United States position on AUSSOM financing remains the same as it has been over the past year. The United States will not support the application of UNSCR 2719 framework to AUSSOM, as we do not believe Somalia is the right context for this first application. We will also not support the hybrid model of the 2719 framework, as we believe it undercuts the spirit and intent of the resolution. It is important to note that this does not reflect a lack of commitment to AUSSOM or the security of Somalia or the region as a whole. On the contrary, we want to continue to work with the AU and other key stakeholders, including potentially new contributors, to identify funds necessary to meet AUSSOM's requirements, and we would welcome a donors conference to do so. While we do not support the use of UNSCR 2719 in Somalia, the United States does recognize the need to address expected budgetary shortfalls and to finalize the details of the concept of operation, and to do so immediately. We know all too well that al-Shabaab has repeatedly demonstrated the capacity and the ability to exploit operation shortfalls, as well as gaps in coordination and communication. In closing, it is important to underscore the United States has long been and will continue to be a supporter of peace in Somalia. To this end, we stand ready to work with all the TCCs, all the partners present here, to work together for Somalia's stability and to eliminate terrorist threats that endanger global security and trade. The United States once again thanks the government of Uganda for hosting this important summit. We recognize and honor the heroes from the TCC armed forces who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and we reiterate the United States' interest in working with all partners present to support a future of peace and stability in Somalia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the U.S. Ambassador to Uganda. And now we take the privilege to invite the head of the European Union delegation to Uganda. Your Excellency, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and I recognize in his absence His Excellency the Chairperson of the African Union Commission, and I recognize in his presence Honorable Obot and all other Honorable Ministers from the region, Permanent Secretary Vincent Bagire, and all permanent secretaries and senior officials of the region and of the African Union Commission, of the United Nations and of IGAD, fellow ambassadors and high commissioners. Excellencies, partners and friends of Somalia, I would like to thank the leadership of President Museveni and President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud for bringing us together here in Kampala. At this pivotal moment for Somalia and for the wider region, it's a privilege to represent the European Union today and to join with partners as we work together to deliver the peace and stability that the people of the region deserve. The European Union is a long-term committed partner to Somalia. Somalia represents the EU's most substantial peace and security engagement on the continent. Let there be no doubt, Somalia and the wider Horn of Africa are of vital importance to the European Union and its member states. The EU's partnership with Somalia is stronger than ever, underpinned by our joint operational roadmap, which identifies shared priorities such as inclusive politics, security, and socio-economic development. That commitment is clear. Since 2007, we have invested over 4.3 billion euros in Somalia's stability, including through sustained support to African Union-led peace operations, such as ATMIS and its predecessor, AMISOM. The support we provide to our partner Somalia is comprehensive, spanning common security and defense policy missions, direct bilateral support to the Somali National Army, development cooperation under the Global Gateway, budgetary assistance, and humanitarian aid. We also recognize that strengthening Somali security forces is critical to long-term peace. As ATMIS transitions, we have significantly increased our bilateral support to Somalia's security sector with 5 packages since 2019, totaling 110 million euros. Our partnership is clearly bearing fruit. Somalia has made tangible gains: the establishment of federal institutions, peaceful transfers of power, and meaningful progress toward assuming full responsibility for national security. However, serious challenges remain, not least the persistent threat posed by Al-Shabaab to the stability of Somalia and the region. To secure the lasting peace we all desire, Somalia must build a unified national political front, implement an agreed national security architecture, and strengthen regional cooperation. Excellencies, honorables, ladies and gentlemen, the European Union welcomes the adoption of the UN Security Council Resolution 2767, which endorses the African Union Support and Stabilization Mission in Somalia, AUSSOM. We pay tribute, as many others here, to the sacrifices made by African Union troops since 2007. Without them, the progress we see today would not have been possible. Our task now is to ensure adequate, predictable and sustainable financing for AUSSOM, and to continue investing in a political settlement that delivers long-term peace. The question of funding is critical. However complex the path, we must recognize that new thinking and arrangements are needed. This is why we believe the hybrid implementation of Resolution 2719 is the only viable pathway to sustainable and predictable funding for AUSSOM. And we echo the call of the African Union, the UN Secretary General, and the Security Council for its implementation. The European Union member states already contribute to a quarter of all UN-assessed contributions. In this regard, we welcome the strategic review of the UN Support Office in Somalia and look forward to the reports detailing progress made in preparation for the implementation of Resolution 2719, as requested under Resolution 2767. These are key steps in ensuring that 2719 can be implemented effectively within the restructured resources of UNSOS. Excellencies, honorables, ladies and gentlemen, let there be no doubt, the European Union remains firmly committed to Somalia and to regional stability. Over the past 2 decades, we have been the largest financial contributor to AU peace support missions in Somalia. We continue to be open to contributing financially to AUSSOM alongside other partners based on shared responsibility and fairer burden sharing between long-standing and new donors. We will continue working hand in hand with Somalia and partners to build a comprehensive and sustainable internal security architecture. In closing, let me underline that the European Union has been and remains a steadfast, reliable and predictable partner. As Somalia enters this next phase, we call on all partners to support this vital transition. Somalia's security is our shared security, particularly in safeguarding the Horn of Africa's stability. We encourage Somalia and its neighbors to continue working together in a spirit of cooperation and solidarity. The EU stands with the region. We have walked this path together for decades, and as you turn the page to a new chapter, you can count on our continued partnership. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the head of EU delegation to Uganda. And now, if you have a copy of the draft program, with your leave, I'm happy to announce that we've saved some time. And therefore, we are going to ask for the presentation of the senior officials' report and consideration of the recommendations. We should be a closed session, and then within that time we shall be able to conclude that. Then we have a break for lunch and other administrative announcements that will be made by our next session presenter, the PS. I'm advised that this will be, I don't know how they conduct a closed session in this kind of, I'm a very open person. Now being asked to say we have a closed session, I don't know how closed. So can I ask the PS Foreign Affairs to do the whipping, because I'm afraid I'm too open.
Chair, thank you very much. The session is so closed that it is not open. But allow me to thank all our presenters this morning and also to request that in preparation for the closed session, the closed session is for the troop contributing countries and Somalia, of course. So we shall request the media, and I hope that is the last shot that you're taking over there, the media to take leave, and our request.